What's the typical age in an agency environment?
Average age of people in the agency is 21.
Youngest I've had is 16.
Child labor.
On what actually creative or digital agencies?
You should hear from the creator first.
Bang! 4 solo founders sitting. Guys, let's gang together.
Are Gen Zs intimidated by the millennials?
They want to do silent quitting, micro breaks. They want to do what they want to do.
And their ability to troubleshoot problems themselves.
But they're super good at what they do.
They get the work-life balance dialogue, but they don't get the context of it.
How you implemented AI in your work?
We're overusing AI to create things that we want to create. The decision making is on us.
My problem is I have really smart people in the team. How dare they do labor? I am a decision maker. I don't execute. Hi guys, welcome back to Aditya's podcast, Adiverse.
Hello everyone and welcome to Adiverse. Thank you so much for coming over.
So glad to be here.
So glad to be here, dude.
Looking forward to getting to know all of you guys.
Yes. So let's start with yours.
I think I was called here today as more of an agency guy. But it's interesting because I actually really don't like that word. While I'm still figuring out what I'm really doing, I do a bunch of different things over the last 8 years, primarily in media, hospitality, and creative, centered around community, content, and experiences.
Okay.
But still figuring what that last one really means.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's the name of the company? And
Bunch of different brands and names, but
what do you identify most with?
everything under one holdco, which is called Safina Ventures, which is our startup studio. And the dream is actually to learn a bunch of stuff through the agency model, but then to build something that's truly interesting and special through the venture studio model.
Great. That's really awesome. By the way, Safina Ventures is one of the prominent landmarks of Bangalore.
Safina Plaza is,
Yes.
that credit goes to my granddad.
Okay.
He's the OG.
Yes.
I'm trying to figure out how to put the ventures in Safina.
Okay, great. Great. That's great.
Yeah.
Great. So, Saloni, yes.
I think very similar. Agency is probably the least thing that I honestly identify with at the moment.
Okay.
But two things. I think one is Beyond Rectangles, which is a organic content marketing agency. But otherwise, it's Kaunversations, which is experiences. We curate and design experiences for people to come together and have meaningful conversations. We've been designing a couple of things. So yeah, and I think Bangalore is the new part of my identity. He's like, oh, I'm new to Bangalore.
Welcome to Bangalore.
Thanks.
Welcome to Bengaluru.
Hi, I'm Vyom. I am a creator. I also happen to run an organization and marketing company that focuses on helping other companies build distributions, their own distribution across on Instagram. We tend to work with mid to large size enterprises, are having fun on the way, built an amazing team along the way. But I identify as a person who's in his figuring out phase. I'm a generalist, I'm an operator, I build stuff, I'm also a creator, so not so sure. Really inspired by Azaan's journey here over the last few years. I've been, secretly stalking him for quite some time now and observing what he has built so far, and hoping to build something like that for in the next few years, hopefully. So yeah,
Maybe we can build it together.
Yes, that's why I came here. Fuck yes. Okay.
The success is in the collaboration.
Mm.
So now let's get into the actual topic. We will talk about the agency business, although we don't necessarily identify as a full-fledged agency owners, but we are in a way entrepreneurs catering to a lot of clients in the digital space. But I do see that there's a lot of it's a very disorganized segment, I feel. There's a lot of clarity that is required. If any one of you would like to just throw some light on what actually creative or digital agencies, because most of my target audience on Adiverse come from varied backgrounds. The TG is totally different. So for the benefit of them, if you could explain how was it structured and throw some light on it.
You should hear from the creator first.
Okay.
I was going to point towards you. It's like bang, bull. So I have always like, this is how I used to see it. I have seen agencies as sweatshops where labor is converted to product and product is shipped off, right, to companies way bigger than you, and those companies use your product to make further cash out of it or to achieve their goals, right? It's like we're a means to an end. I've always seen agencies as that until very recently, where I realized that it's not like any agency business is essentially an HR agency. You acquire talent, you take that talent, you train that talent, you create and build your own systems, and it's different for every agency because people are different.
Right.
Like, you can't have the same people coexist. It's just not possible, right? So you build these teams and you let them operate, like Azaan mentioned in the start of it, that he gets people and then figures out, okay, what do they want to do, and gets business for them, right? That's quite literally the definition of it, right? Largely in this country and even in developing countries, agencies have been seen as sweatshops, right? And that is slowly changing.
Right.
That is slowly changing. The hub, Azaan's company here, is clearly like a flag bearer in that scenario. And initially, as I said, that I took a lot of inspiration. It's because like, Indian workers have been assumed to be they're just loyal workers. They will do whatever you tell them to do. No, that's changing. That's really changing. They want work-life balance. They want to spend time with their parents, their pets. They want to have kids, and they want to take their own time. And it just happens that their skill sets are also evolving very quickly, which means they are no longer just folks who do repetitive tasks. They are decision makers.
Right.
And that decision making is again being influenced extensively with AI, right? Because execution part is done by AI. Now these people are just left to make decisions, which means you can't force accountability onto them. They are either smart and accountable or they're not.
Okay.
And that's what has, I think, changed in the last few years. I would say my career is not that long, barely 4 years at max. But that's what I've noticed so far.
Okay.
Saloni?
Yeah, no, I think that's very high standards. He's practically covered everything in some format or the other. But I think agency, for me, has always been about building the culture that I've always wanted to be in. As he said, that talent is there. They are expecting a couple of things. For me, it has always been about building the internal culture. I wanted to create a workplace where I would love to go. That's where the agency entirely came in. I didn't know what an agency is before I started one. In fact, probably for a year after I started one, that it's an agency. The nomenclature came in later. But it came out of the whole fact that we want to do a certain type of projects. If nobody's facilitating it, we will facilitate it. So whoever comes in, whatever talent comes in, if they want us to facilitate that sort of projects, we do it. But I think it's a lot more about building that culture. The work-life balance that he mentioned, I think one of the mottos that we work with within the agency is that we're in marketing, not in medicine. There's no urgencies. I think there's this lot of hustle attached to agency for what reason. If there's enough structure to things, I think if there is a structure and system that respects creative processes, then I think it doesn't have to be that. It doesn't have to. Work has to revolve around life. Life doesn't have to revolve around work. And these are some things based on which we've built whatever we've built. Sundays being flexible, like you can take a Sunday on a Wednesday. Like these are the small things that agencies are able to do today. I have worked as an intern in a couple of agencies. Never really did a job ever at an agency, and I think that's sort of changed a lot for me. They wanted to create a culture where we're working out of like sofas, like there's no chairs at all in my office. There's no chairs. We work on the floor, and I think that's something that a creative culture can allow us to do. And I think for me it's a lot more about culture, which eventually makes the product that comes out really, like, we all really relate to what we bring out. And I think that's only possible because of the sort of culture. We have a wall of failures. We put down projects that we failed at, so to reutilize them in some format or the other that we can. These are some small things, but it's primarily culture is the biggest. I'm also reading Creativity Inc. right now, so I think that's where a lot of culture is coming up. But
So what do you have to say, Azaan, with respect to from your
Yeah, I think wall of failures is like wall of learnings, right?
Yeah, that's
It's just perspective. And since the timeline thing you spoke of is why rush, then learnings is an investment.
yeah.
Except maybe you're being paid to be educated in this business, right? For me, I mean, I'm at this moment where I'm trying to go back to my roots. I'm 8 years in. When I started, I gave myself this title called Chief Happiness Officer.
Yeah.
Today, I feel like it's overused.
Yeah.
But back then, it was kind of risky to think that. I was like, will people take me seriously? Right? I'm this 21-year-old kid who's gone to the US, come back, is trying to pretend like he knows what startups are all about. And for me, it was about bringing people together and creating an environment, like she said, that makes me happy.
Yeah.
Because I came from this insanely fun, buzzing atmosphere in USC, in LA, and like I got exposed to all these incredible people and concepts. And I came back inside Safina Plaza shopping mall in Bangalore, which is a very different environment. And I was like, shit, I need to do something to make it fun for me here.
Yeah.
Because I'm back. I want to be back, but I also need it to be fun. And that's why we built a space first.
Yeah.
We built a co-working space, a co-living space. And then I got to meet a lot of people. And it all happened in reverse. It was about, okay, there are all these amazing people. Can we build a model that makes them happy?
Yeah.
Right? And it kind of just started from there.
Yeah.
Now the thing that like I'm trying to connect and make sense with is like the modern HR is, I was seeing this clip by the NVIDIA founder where the new HR, the modern HR will be essentially managing agents as much as they will be managing people, right? So it's like more like an IT guy now.
Right.
So there'll be like an IT HR and there'll be like a human HR.
Right.
So how trends play out on a macro level from a business perspective, I think, I don't know if any of us know that side. But I think what the common trend here is the human side of it, right? It's the purpose behind why you want to do it, and it's the kind of life you want to build for yourself, and it's the kind of culture you want to create for other people, because in a world that's changing so fast, it's just more comforting to focus on what we can control, which is the environment.
Yeah, right. In a way, I just want to understand that, as we move along, do you think, somewhere we lose the focus of why we actually started off? Has that happened?
I think every day. Every day.
How do you pivot back?
I think we all find, it took me a while to figure it out, but I think I'm currently in that phase where I know I've lost track of what was happening. Like there's turbulence, but it sort of gets through. It needs clarity. It needs some sort of processing that happens. But two things, I think that building that ecosystem that holds me accountable, my team is that for me. I think I've been running this for 4 years now, and I've been working with the same set of people. They have clarity on what I want, and we take chances on it. And I think for people who have co-founders, maybe co-founders are that. They hold... People hold. Are you gonna?
These are 3 solo founders. By the way.
Oh yeah.
Fuck.
Oh, me too.
4 solo founders
sitting.
Yeah.
Guys, let's gang together.
Collaboration. But yeah, no, I think building that ecosystem that holds you accountable. At least when I have the full phase of clarity, I'd build that ecosystem. But right now, when that isn't there, I have a very clear, transparent communication with my team that, dude, I'm not in the phase right now. And I will not be able to make all the decisions at the moment because I don't have clarity of what is happening. And I think the other way, more individualistic way of dealing with it is, for me, it's writing. For people, it could be anything else. But I think I keep writing stuff. This is personally and professionally. I keep writing stuff, and that gives me a lot of clarity and therapy. Therapy.
I thought that's what we were doing here. 4 single founders, not singing, but no co-founders, founders.
Solo founders.
Solo founders, okay.
Freudian slip, dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, what about y'all, about the turbulence phase?
Turbulence phase. Like you said, I'm going through it right now too. I'm trying to figure out what made me happy last year, over the last 8 years. For me, in terms of internally, as much as I'm also, no, I can't say I'm calm. I'm super ambitious. I'm super hyperactive.
Yeah.
Not for money, but just to figure out what the point of all of this is. Right?
But
why are we doing anything?
Yeah. But I think as entrepreneurs, we need to have that aggression. Do you think it is? It needs to be I can feel a lot.
I don't know. I don't know how much my aggression has helped me. it helps you start things.
Yeah.
It helps you get momentum.
Yeah.
But I don't think it helps you win.
Right.
Because I would have won by now otherwise.
Yes.
Winning is very relative.
But you said agency, right?
Yeah.
I think for me, why I started an agency, as I'm trying to go back and figure it out, is I looked at the word which is agency is like, I want my agency.
Yeah.
And I want my people to have their agency.
That
I think
ego
that
is
side of the
there.
word people
Yeah.
don't really think about. The agency is consulting for solving problems to earn money.
Yeah. Right.
That's the side that we focus on.
Yes. Exactly.
But I really like what you said, because I think the word agency actually means having control over things.
Right?
And I think it's primarily control over a couple of things. As you said, things that you can control. I think all these are sort of words that you can attach to things later.
Yeah.
In the moment, no revolution we're trying to bring here. Yeah.
Oh, I think there can be a revolution. The media landscape is changing very, very fast. It was normal. See, if you go back 200 years. Oh fuck, man! Go back to 400 years. You have the Gutenberg press in the 1600s, second half of 1600s. Then you have that was how the first distribution was created. Extremely hard to copy. What has happened since 1600s down to 2000s is that creating and building distribution, the barrier of entry has come down to nothing, right? And also to a certain degree, human population has gone up, content consumption has gone up, right? And the best bet that anyone, I've been consuming a lot of content around this, around like what does the future of social media really look like. I'm really obsessed with it. And it seems like, like a lot of AI generated content, like every second reel is AI generated at this point, and I'm still watching it. And I'm confused, like, man, it scares me to death exactly what's going to happen to all of us. What is going to happen to this business? Are we even going to have content created by humans at all at some point or not? But at the same time, the next revolution won't be, by some guy named Rupert Murdoch. The next set of distributions won't be built by a really old white man. It's going to be built by a kid from the slums of Dharavi, because he understands a niche and he knows how to speak to the people in that niche, right? So I think hyper niche is going to be the next big thing, and I think that's something that everyone's kind of latching on to and doubling down on. That's something I also want to do, something that really is very exciting.
I'm also super fascinated with that. I think the only like one level of nuance around what he said, which I completely agree with, is that as much as it's the barrier to entry and the ability to build distribution, especially niche distribution, has just become so much more accessible. The noise on that distribution's also got so much more cluttered, like you said, with AI enabling more content to be made, with people from everywhere being able to make. I made this page on Notion, which is when the day I decided to stop making content, because I just wanted time to think. It's called No Social Media.
Okay.
And I've just collected all the same, like, deep dive into the black hole onto this one page, and I'm just every day asking it to summarize it to me, and I'm just reading it because I want to consume and understand, and I want to stop. I needed to get out of the rat race. We make like 100 pieces of content a day. Right. If I have to do it for myself, I'm hyper conscious and I put way more time into that piece. So I'm like, no, I need to figure out what's going to happen next.
Right.
I don't know, but I'm obsessively thinking about it, like he said.
I feel like all three of us are extensively, some folks who are attached to social media.
Right.
But I very seriously doubt if we spend that much time on social media or with our phones. Like every time I enter office, my phone goes on D&D. I don't touch it. I don't want to touch my phone. I'm with my copy. My laptop is on D&D. No one can reach me.
Same.
You want to reach me? Come upstairs. No,
All like notifications off.
One flight of stairs, I'm always accessible.
My WhatsApp notification is permanently off.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. It's not allowed to ping me.
Yeah.
I'll open it when like I'm in that space, and if someone wants to reach me some other way, they'll call somebody around me.
Yeah.
Because the flow, right? You just can't think.
Yeah.
At the same time, like earlier we used to hire people for execution. Now we hire people for decision making. That is, in less than a span of a year, that significant change has come.
Right.
Like who hires graphic designers? No, I'll get a video editor who can use Midjourney to create stuff, to create thumbnails. In his free time, like he spends 6 hours a day editing videos. 2 hours he spends on thumbnails. right? Execution, yeah, but very interesting, like how it's going to affect the future. It's scary. I feel to a certain degree that our field is either dying or about to take an upwards trajectory. It's only those two options. Either it's going to be direct to consumer, just like products are reaching, information is going to reach consumers directly in their heads or something. Some sci-fi bullshit, right?
I don't think it's dying. The mediums are evolving. That's it. And
Yeah.
we'll
No,
adapt to
I
those.
think it's not dying. I think our brains may die,
I-
but it's gonna do fine.
Someone's gonna die.
yeah.
No, with all the AI, it's just is it just a buzzword, or it's actually truly impacting the way we operate?
I don't think any of us would say it's a buzzword.
It's not a buzzword for sure. I think maybe right now we're working a lot more on like efficiency increasing and optimization, but that's the start of it.
If you can give me an example of how you implemented AI in your work.
I think a couple of things. While, like he said, right, that we're overusing AI to create things that we want to create. The decision making is on us. So it's only increasing the efficiency. It's optimizing on the resources that we have. I'd say I recently could get in 2 hours, I could get like 7 days of work done in scripting. Because my ChatGPT understands me, talks like me.
Yeah.
Primarily, I've spoken enough to my ChatGPT to do what I do, and it does it a lot faster. And in fact, I was surprised that it did it in Hindi conversational language, and that's something that was surprising. But the point is, this is just optimization, this thing. But I think eventually we can also see it in a more personalized storytelling, in a more formats that I think will evolve the way that we use social media in general. Like it will give us the power to reach the consumer in a more contextual format, and not just like tracing their behaviors. Maybe performance will see its own. Right now, organic is seeing its own AI transformation. Maybe performance will also see it in terms of like targeting and stuff like that. But I think right now it's a start of it, where we're just seeing it internally within an agency, to some extent to the client. But yeah, I think eventually I see it.
It will evolve.
100%. I don't think it's a buzzword.
You did answer the question, like how have you infused AI into your work? But Azaan and Vyom.
I mean, I'm not a tech-minded, like technically thinking type of person, but I just try to keep it really simple and just augment the work that the people in my team are doing. So it's essentially like I'm sitting with each person one day or a couple of people a week, just trying to understand what they do and make them kind of make the AI their like founder's office, right? Because I have a founder's office and it's just incredibly helped me to do more. So I'm just trying to make everybody have a founder's office. I'm just trying to like keep it simple. That's how I'm approaching it, because I don't understand the technical side of it.
Right.
I wish I had a company as big as Azaan's to care about AI. But like jokes aside, I think our copywriting team extensively uses Claude. We have a team-wide subscription for everyone who's in the creative team. For them, we have internal. We're in the process of building internal systems where copywriting is essentially AI generated. The reason it's AI generated is because I have a problem with execution, dude. If a creative cycle is taking me 10 days, like she mentioned earlier, it's becoming efficient. I like to call it man hours, right? A copywriter takes 10 days to finish an entire cycle for one client, which means that copywriter can handle between at max 3 clients, right? In a working month. But working month has 20 days. That means my margins are getting affected just because that guy is spending too much fucking time on writing a copy. No, I want to make more money, dude. I'm a crony capitalist. So I'm like, okay, let me look at it this way. If I can reduce the cycle down to maybe 3 days, okay. 3 days is very unrealistic. Maybe like 5 days. We've actually done that in certain cases where we've understood that if we take these formats, we create projects within Claude, and that's actually something that you can very easily get done. Feed it enough data. And then you ask yourself, what's the blocker? They're like, oh, scripting takes too much time. Okay, use Claude. Okay, ideation takes too much time. Okay, use Claude. Dude, my LinkedIn posts and everything, all ideas, everything I post on LinkedIn comes through Claude. I am a decision maker. I don't execute. My problem is I have really smart people in the team. How dare they do labor? How dare they write? They can tell and treat Claude as if they're an intern. I respect my team to such a high degree that I feel like they're being disrespectful to themselves when they manually tweak copies. Like, that's great, guys. Teach AI to do it. Save your time. Let us make more money so that we can give more perks to the team. Right?
Right.
So that's the thing, like, you get really smart people, you reward them for using and being more efficient, and you use that extra cash to keep rewarding them. So that's how we are using it. At least in the creative team, it's not, we've like really not reached video editors. The graphic design team uses it like crazy. Like, yeah, dude, like I see 6,000 rupees randomly vanish from the company bank account because they have like multiple Mid-Journey subscriptions. It hurts, dude. And yeah, matlab, we use AI very extensively to save a lot of time. So
I think I want to connect what he said to what Saloni was talking about, right? What he's doing pretty awesomely, I guess, is he's taking something that usually a typical company, people in the team would see as a threat, which is technology, AI. Oh, fuck, I have to do this. I have to figure it out. I have to put some shit into some cloud. What is this? And he's made it a positive culture, like he's celebrating that, right? Saying that this is how we're going to use it, and then we're going to give you perks. Now use it. It's that reward system that you have to build, and that culture that you have to build with something new and disruptive to really take advantage of it.
Absolutely. Invariably, I ask my team to, use extensively wherever possible so that, the productivity is much larger than, what we can produce. Because as entrepreneurs or solopreneurs or, agency founders, we always have a tussle between, the deliverables, the costing, a lot of things that we have to keep in mind. So I think AI has, kind of been a boon to me, obviously. So
I feel like the team, the employees have to be forced to use AI. They don't understand.
No, I'm telling you, it's very difficult. I have someone in my team who's there, who resists, who desists. I mean, you call it like no AI. It takes time, I guess, for them to realize.
See, but if they realize that they will have more, they can go home early, that they can spend time doing things otherwise.
But I've had a different experience. I think it could be because like the average age of people in the agency is 21. What happens is they come and they'll tell me a new tool every day, and I'll be like, you figure it out and you execute it. And I'm primarily learning a lot more about AI from people in the organization. And a lot of times I have to, like, if a decision comes to me, I have to tell them this is to AI. I think we've also that, right? Like, to humanize what AI is bringing out, copy tweaking for that matter. Of course, like if the training for the AI has been done correctly. But yeah, I think it's a lot about either the culture or the context from which we're operating. People who are working at Beyond with me are people, this is primarily their first jobs, maybe. So they have only seen, the Gen Zs has only seen the AI. Like they have not, and I think it's incredibly good. Like I'm not against the whole, I mean, there are two Gen Zs on the table, but...
What's the typical age in an agency environment?
I don't know in an agency, but
I mean, in your
ours,
own team, like,
in ours,
for lack of word,
probably-
I'll just call
in
it.
ours, it's probably average age, median age would probably be 23. Because there's a lot of like youngest we've had is 16, but then we do have some older folks too.
Child labor.
But I don't know, man. I'm trying to figure this out because there's one part of me that's super compassionate and community driven and passion driven. There's one that's like an entrepreneur side.
Right.
In the first 5 years of my business, I was like this softy. I was like, I love everybody and a family, and we'll figure it out. But like in the last year, I've seen myself. I think the opportunity for efficiency is so great.
Right.
The last year, I mean, the first year, I've just let people go. I'm like, if you can't do it, it's not going to work. So we just have to move forward.
Right.
I can't coach everybody.
Right.
Especially when there's a bunch, when the team starts to grow a little bigger.
Yeah.
I want to.
Yeah.
That side of me does.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I get that. Now, I'll just ask this one question. You can be as frank as possible. Are Gen Zs intimidated by the millennials?
I think the other way around, by the way. If anything, I'm the most intimidated by the youngest people in our team. I don't understand them. They're not driven by money. I don't know what they're driven by. they want to do silent quitting, micro breaks. They want to do what they want to do. They don't want to follow systems. I don't know if it's just the bunch of people we attract or if it's across the board, but they're super good at what they do.
Yeah.
They understand culture better than anybody else can.
Yeah.
But they also have created this like defense mechanism against overstimulation or overworking, which I don't think I see millennials have figured out.
Right.
What do you guys think?
Yeah, no, I think I agree to most part of what you said. I think I think Gen Z set 2, which is now coming into the workforce also already, the 16, 17 year olds. What's happening is, one, there's overexposure of content, right? Like the whole, they get the work-life balance dialogue, but they don't get the context of it. I understand that life has to, like, it does not have to revolve around work. Work has to revolve around life, all of those things. But I think the only missing piece which will be figured out soon is the fact that flexibility comes with accountability, and it cannot come without it. We're trying to be as flexible as we can be. We're trying to accommodate all of the like take a leave if it's your boyfriend's birthday, like that's not a problem. That's been a culture for agencies for years now.
Right.
But I think they're not driven by money. They're driven by I think social currency, which is like bragging rights. So one of the things that I figured out while doing 2 organizations which are very dependent on each other, Conversations and Beyond Rectangles, one of the policies that I did was we don't hire in Conversations directly. People who work at Beyond will work in Conversations. I attract better talent there in that way, because people don't want to work in traditional agency models. They want to work with something that is shiny. Now Conversations is a brand. It's shiny. People want to work with it. Great people come by, they apply for it. They work in the agency while they get the bragging rights of Conversations. And Conversations sort of can utilize the resources that the agency has. So I think they're driven by social currency. The social capital is becoming bigger than ever, specifically because of content becoming as decentralized as it has become. It will change, of course. We will reach our saturations for it, but yeah, they're driven by something else than
it's
just
that
money.
something for the soul, something for the belly.
Yeah,
Type of
yeah, like
did I butcher that? Is that what it
Yeah,
is?
that's something
that's
like
true.
that.
That's true. That's
Yeah.
required for everyone.
It's
Probably.
the community and the agency pair.
It's
that-
a brand and an agency pair,
Yeah,
right?
brand
Like
and an
I think
agency,
community. It's not a community that they're coming for. They're coming for something cool. I think the slightly older folks are coming to us for the network that Conversations can build for them, which probably would have seen.
In let's say Vyom's case, that brand is the creator.
Is him.
Right,
Like
it's
he's
him.
the brand, yeah.
Right.
So you always have to create something shiny which sort of keeps them, something shiny that they can show it off and they can feel like that.
It's like we're attracting monkeys.
Yeah,
Something shiny.
It might sound like a trap, but I feel like one thing that has happened is that people have become more aligned with the vision, aligned with the culture. They've taken it. I mean, this is, I'm very early on in the journey, but I've been in Bangalore for 15-20 days now, and Ahmedabad team has done better than they've ever done before. And I'm just like, I think me not being there has helped them, because they've embodied the vision and the culture.
Yeah.
Things
They're more
like that.
responsible.
They're more responsible and accountable now than ever, because earlier they'd be like, if anything, you were the chief happiness officer, I was the chief troubleshooting officer. I had that as my title, that I'll only come in if there is something going wrong. But yeah, or creating a system. But I think it's a lot about, now we just need our HR to understand their incentives better. Like you said, that they want to work on these shiny projects. They want to work on something, like someone you were discussing about, they want to do outdoor shoots more. We'll take more outdoor shoots. Like go on a Vox Pop and do this. And that is something that will bring value to the brand, because they are doing it from the heart.
Right.
They're great at what they do.
Right.
So they're going to do a good job, because they want to show the world that they did this.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Everyone who's building an agency is trying to build something against it. Like, they're like, agency nahi chalega bhai, kuch aur banate side pe. It's like, nahi chalega. Anyways.
Yeah.
So the first answer to that question is going to be that millennials are really fucking slow. Like, they're really annoyingly, piercingly slow.
You know what's my age?
You're a millennial, I know that.
And you're generalizing, but continue.
Hear me out. Tier 1 millennials are extremely slow. They are extremely bound by social expectations and peer pressure. They Everything that they blame the last generation about, they themselves are the one who are causing it in the first place. They blame their parents and peers for absolutely every little discomfort in life, and they keep whimpering about it until the last moment. And they are so rigid to change. They don't want to change. They are like, no, what is AI? I don't want to use AI. Okay, I have to make my team use AI. Don't take this personally. I want my team to use AI. They will go like, okay, guys, please use AI. That's it, we're done. They will not try to build SOPs in that direction. Why not? Why not go with the flow? Right? That rigidity is something that, like, hear me out. Millennials are scared of Gen Z purely because they're not able to grasp the pace of change. That's all. And that is okay. That is the issue with every single generation above us. Every single generation who came before. Your parents had an issue with how much time you spent on TV, correct? Even though you might be watching National Geographic or Discovery Channel, for fuck's sake, right? But they'll still have an issue with it. Like, why are you sitting in front of TV 3 feet away from it? No, sit 14 feet away. Bro, the room is 10 feet. While millennials come with wisdom, experience, patience. Now, these are 3 things that you require for success.
Yeah.
Gen Z have none of that. You were saying, right? You were saying very proudly how my team is 21. I would kill myself if that was me. And I'm 22. I did an all-hands meeting. And I told everyone, guys, hear me out. We're fucking kids. We need adults. We're going to hire adults. They're like, okay, how do you hire adults? We've always wanted to have more millennials in the workspace purely because they bring patience, calm, and their ability to troubleshoot problems themselves instead of panicking against them. And that is what experience does to a person. It makes them more resolved as a human. And no matter how much Gen Zs can have exposure, no matter how much they can be fast-paced and, learners and everything, that lack of experience and wisdom will always bite them back because it's always, that pint of arrogance that comes with not knowing what lies ahead, right? I know some philosophers said that, I know nothing. Who was that guy? God knows. So, not knowing is what makes you arrogant. But the more you know, the more you realize how much you don't know.
Yeah.
And that's the issue with Gen Z, dude. They don't know what the fuck is up. They don't know what lies ahead of them, and they are unable to accept it because you require experience to reach a certain level of self-awareness, which you are not have, which you don't have, right? Which means you can think that मैं तो बादशाह हूँ, I am the Shahenshah, right? I can do whatever I want. But at the end of the day, you're nothing but a learner.
Right.
You have to treat yourself as one. You have to eat shit for the next 10 years of your life. And then when you're 30 and when you have your first child, you will finally breathe that calm, that calm air through your lungs. And you'll realize, finally, I'm in a space where I'm calm. I have wisdom now. Now I want to learn more.
But do you think there is a lack of patience and tolerance among the
Gen
Z?
Yeah, definitely. I have see, I told you, Gen Z, I feel younger generations are a lot more likely to give you 0-1 answers to questions. Well, when you ask Azaan something, right, or when Azaan asks you something back, right, you are much less likely to get a 0-1 answer. 0-1 is like very extreme answers. But she said, my average age is 20, my agency's age is 21. The first thing I do is roast her. I'm like, how dare you say that? I'm offended.
I think, I agree with a lot of things he says, even though he says it in such an interestingly funny, viral way. But it also just depends. Like, there was this girl in our team who kind of started when she was 16 and became head of talent management and created talent management within our agency. Probably the most spiritual, most aware human being I've ever met. Worked with us for about 2 years, moved to the mountains, still lives in the mountains, does her own thing. Realized I don't need material things, I don't need anything.
Yeah.
I think it kind of also depends on personality and exposure and so many other factors.
What's her name?
Ocean.
How many team members do you have?
Like 42?
42 team members. You're full-time, right? Ocean's also full-time?
Not anymore.
Not anymore, right? But she was, right?
Yes.
Okay. You're 42 people. Were you able to find someone like her again?
Yeah, that's the thing. I feel like, I don't know if it's the environment we've created or it's that vibe attracts tribe kind of thing, but I feel like the younger people, the Gen Z folks in our team, I learn about life from them, but then I learn about expertise from the older people. That's why I'm like, my experience is slightly different to this, even though logically I agree with what you're saying.
See, I respectfully disagree with this because you have survivorship bias, right? You saw one case work out for you, so you assume that more cases will work out. Try hiring 100 interns, right? Yeah, go for it. Hire 200 interns. The number of times people might have emailed you saying that, ki, hey, I will work for free for you. Why didn't you hire them?
Right.
Right? Because you took a bet, a circumstantial bet, and that person somehow worked out. But I don't feel that kind of mandates the fact that younger people are good bets to take.
No,
You get my survivorship bias.
I get what you're saying. I just think it's also interesting because the one thing that, let's say, millennials or older folks had was cumulative life experience.
Yeah.
But just think about this from another perspective. Anyone from 8 has access to cumulative life experiences through LLMs. They just need to know how to leverage that. When you start leveraging the entire cumulative life experience of the entire world from 8 to 18, what amount of processing power do you have at 18? And then the question of wisdom kind of changes a bit.
Yeah.
Because you have wisdom on demand. It's decision making and speed, which you said Gen Z has, that actually makes them faster decisions on the cumulative wisdom of the world.
But how reliable are those decisions if that person's going to leave the job in 6 months?
That's a whole other battle.
I am Gen Z, dude. I don't like my generation. Fucking hate it.
But and there's two sides to it. Flip side to what I already said, right? Like one of the things that I know that is lacking is we have a team of experimenters. We work from we execute, we try things very fast. We get through with things. But what is lacking is team of experts. Right, like we have to figure out. We know what to do. We have to figure out how to do. That's where the time comes in, which is where I know for a fact that I need to hire someone in a social media marketing. Social media, young folks can do marketing is where we need people with experience to come in. People to understand strategy. People who understand trends are the younger ones. People who understand strategy and how brand and content is being bridged is where we'll need older folks. And that's something that I know that I need a change in my system currently. But it's working because people are able to give me... if I build a system for them, they'll be able to replicate it in a couple of things. So that's why it's working. But I know for a fact that a team of experts, for me to be out of the system, I'll need a team of experts as well. That's where probably people of experience comes in. We don't have experts, but we have experimenters. And I think that's sort of working out. To some scale, it'll work. Beyond that scale, I don't think it'll work.
So there's a lot going on with respect to work from home and in-office work. There's a lot of debate going on around that. And I recently came across this debate that's happening. I'll just read that quote by JP Morgan's CEO, Jamie Dimon. So he says that don't waste time on it. I don't care how many people sign that fucking petition. So he dismissed the employees' pushback on remote work. So how do you guys view this aspect of it? And then, how do you operate in your own agencies?
We would like you to answer that question first. I see a lot of people in your office, dude.
Yeah, I have around 20 folks working here, but they're all in office. I personally do not have remote work option here.
My question is, why do you feel the need to put everyone in office? I used to feel that way, right? But that was 6 months ago.
Okay.
Then I realized, if you want good people, you have to work with their terms.
Maybe 6 months later, I will change my mindset, but at least...
You know what, dude? You can sit here. I'll do the questioning. Come.
Okay. I'm game for it. Let's see how it goes.
Guys, this is not scripted at all. I've been wanting to do that.
You all want to switch the drinks? I don't think this is okay.
That I'm not going to do it.
But I can't drink this,
stops
dude.
there. That's why I draw the line.
So we have JP Morgan's CEO, some white dude who believes that people need to work from office as if they're still working in a factory. And he's he's like, oh my God, you need to be in office. What are your views on this, Aditya?
No, but I feel like, my folks really love when coming to the office and, having that, creative discussions and, meeting people. And that way, there's a lot of work that gets done, which doesn't happen otherwise. At least in my line of business where we produce videos, you need to be here. I mean, I don't think it can be performed unless you are doing performance marketing or only copywriting. Those kind of stuff may work out, but then at least I don't see that kind of need for me to allow my staff members to work remotely. It hasn't been a part of the discussion over here at Avatar, at least. But then again, if there is a time where we feel like such an opening is there where it can be performed remotely, I'm not trying to be diplomatic here, but then
You are.
if-
Anyways, we have Saloni here. So, Saloni, your team is like, what, average age is 21, right?
How many times are we going to pick on that? But
Like your
yeah.
team's average age is 21. How are you dealing with this? Because these guys I'm assuming they're not very highly accountable folks. Young folks are not generally highly accountable. I could be wrong. Right?
Yeah, no, I think
But how do you deal with that work from office scenario?
it is a challenge to bring that accountability. Systems, I think, is what I'm trying to sort of manage to make sure that everybody knows at all points what is work, how do we reduce work dependencies by creating systems. But as I said earlier, right, like accountability, flexibility will come with accountability. So you get flexibility if you are accountable around it. We have 2 days work, 1 day work from home policy of you can pick whichever day you want to work from home. The day you're feeling more productive at work, sure, like come in, whatever you want to do. We do have flexible work timings. Like we want to, which hasn't been working very much in my favor, that, you can come in at any point and do whatever your job is unless there is a meeting or whatever scheduled. So I'm trying to create a flexible work structure, not working 100%, but we're doing permutation combination of things and making it work. But I don't think that without flexibility we'll be able to create a creative culture at office. But we moved to a office only in last March. So it's been a year. Before that, for 3 years, we were a completely remote working team.
Damn, for 4 years you've been running the agency. That's a long time.
Yeah.
Right, Azaan?
I wouldn't know. My agency is only 3 years old.
What, really?
You said 8 years.
8 years is my startup journey, building hospitality ventures. Then I got into media distribution, and only in the last 3 years is agency.
Oh, how about you?
Like what, we're doing stories now? Is it okay to do that? Acha, like how? Acha, okay, the question only.
Yeah. Okay, you forgot.
Yeah. Anyways, guys, one of the members in the podcast are not being very cordial.
Who is that?
I wonder.
That person shall remain nameless. So, anyways,
We all know who it is.
I feel like it's a double-edged sword. You know, this whole work from home, work from office scenario, it's a double-edged sword. See, if you get people in the office, you give them freebies, you give them perks, you give them a coffee, you give them, coupons, you give them like a nice environment, you give them an environment where they can learn very fast, right? Because they're alongside peers who will be senior to them, who understand a lot more better. While at the same time, those are the pros of working in office, right? And you also kind of know that things are moving in front of you, and you'll be able to directly reach people. Like the communication is very smooth, right? So at the same time, the cons of that is people talk. They're the humans. They will chatter. They will waste time. They will be distracted. They will want to do things which are not work, right? And you as a boss, you as an entrepreneur will feel offended by that. Again, I'm saying in very 0-1 terms, right? Work from home is like cool, great. And at the same time, they're also spending at least 2 hours of their day just traveling on average, 1 hour or 2 hours, which means if you have a productive work day of 10 hours, right? 2 is shaved off. And 8 hours are left, 1 hour is shaved off again for lunch. Where is your productivity now? Right? So there are a lot of pros and cons in work from office. Work from home has its own list of pros and cons. Great, you'll get time with your family and then all that. Both scenarios are pros and cons. And how we have managed to do it is that we are in office. I'll have a person sitting right in front of me. Like, this is my cabin. This is the set of spaces that these guys are sitting at. They will, if they want something, they will literally text me on Slack. They will not even come to my cabin. They're that lazy. They're like, no, we won't. Why? It's just convenience, dude. So tomorrow, if COVID comes or some zombie apocalypse happens and companies are like, okay, let's sell zombie t-shirts, right? And they want social media marketing for that. In a scenario like that, my company will still survive because I'm just trying to be anti-fragile there.
Yeah.
I'm like, you guys do whatever is more convenient to you. We will A/B test 1 day, 2 day work from home scenarios and see where we can get the most efficient amount of work hours out of it while still maintaining satisfaction. Very simple thing, right? So for us, we are in like, it's been less than a year since we started the agency. It's like our foundational year, and we've scaled very significantly. 20% team sitting there, right? So we know that we know nothing, and we have to try and test and try and test, and then make our assumptions. And even those assumptions would be invalid after 3 months.
Yeah.
And that is, I think, a very diplomatic opinion that I have on work from home and office.
I think what you said makes sense, to have a system that is work from home friendly.
Yeah.
Does not leave people out of loop if they are working from home.
Mm.
And I think that's similar. Like, we have a system where the communication doesn't happen offline. The communication still happens online, but work moves faster.
I absolutely hate it when someone texts on WhatsApp from team. I get so annoyed. I'm like, why am I being texted on WhatsApp? There are like groups with freelancers, and we're trying to move them to Slack as well. We use Slack for all communication. You want something, text on Slack. We had a meeting, text notes on Slack. Everything has to be put on notes and posted on Slack so that everyone can see what's happening.
Well, what I'm trying to say is I'm just trying to see what are the best practices and what works for me as an agency, and then, being 6 years in the business. So I feel like, I'm not saying that I've cracked the code. It's always evolving. But then this is something that's why I also initially, when I started the agency business or anything that we are trying to do here, right? It's very diverse. It's very much like how you want to structure it. Like that's what I wanted to, understand, or my takeaway from the whole conversation would be like, what works for you may not work for the other agency structure or business or the offerings that they do or the hiring process or the retention process. So everything is very unique to your own, the kind of system, and then, your beliefs and a lot of things.
I think the one thing I'll add to what Vyom said is that in 0-1 terms, it's about when you're small, when you're our size, it's about what works for me.
Right.
And I've learned to say that.
Yeah.
I want it on Notion because I want it on Notion. No, our team will use Google Docs. Why does it have to be on Notion? Because I want it on Notion.
Yeah.
Because in those areas, you have to be autocratic.
Right.
When you decentralize decision making on foundational things and communication stack and stuff, then it's anarchy.
I think initially when you're trying to acquire great talent, showing that the team is extremely decentralized is a great way to start. But slowly getting catch hold of those decentralized units and centralizing them is fucking important is what I've started to realize. And it becomes very hard because you have all these senior folks you're trying to manage and tell them, guys, this is how you have to do.
I never try and do that because I have a lot of senior folks here. Now they are leading the team, they are figuring out the processes, they are figuring out the systems and everything. So it becomes a lot more easier when you kind of, give them the power. Because it's important if you are actually, trying to grow.
No, like with us, we have a design studio, we have a video production studio, and we have a growth consulting organization within our agency. There are like 3 units, right? When each of them want to work in their pod, their system works. But when we want to offer integrated marketing, that's when shit gets a little hard, right? Because then you have 3 languages that's communicating. That's where that structure. You build structure when you need it.
Yes.
Right? That's what I've learned. You don't pre-build structure you don't need.
No.
Because that might just not work.
Your business may not work for the structure that you build. That it moves so fast.
Okay, this is very interesting. So, what do you think these Gen Z are working for? And there's of course a caveat to it. They're young and all as well.
Right.
That is great. But there is a Gen Z who's 25-year-olds as well. 25-year-old as well. Imagine 25-year-old Gen Z. Like almost a millennial. Right? And then these are the folks who, brands for the longest time thought that they don't have any purchasing power. We will just target them for study abroad. So they tell their parents, Papa, I want to go to Malaysia for studies. Like, why? Don't know. Right? It's always like they've always been looked at as this second-class consumers. Second-class consumers, and now that has changed. Right.
I think Saloni said social currency attracts Gen Z, right? And maybe that's a
byproduct.
That's a byproduct, right? But I mean, it sounds so cheesy, but that's what I used to say that I am working for, which is I'm working to find my purpose. When I tried to make content, I had a newsletter, and the subtitle of that was a hyperactive founder trying to find his purpose. And I still think that applies to me, but I think that's what drives a lot of Gen Z, right? Because in all this noise and in all this content consumption and overstimulation, you're so fucking confused. You're more confused than you ever were because you know there are more choices than ever existed. And you know that people are doing it and there's FOMO and you're like, what the fuck? Oh my God, I need to find my purpose. And work is one way that I try to find that purpose.
Okay, so the two millennials here, right? I would like to point this question towards two of you guys, right?
Okay.
Like a very
Thank God.
You thought it was only you.
Oh yeah.
Every
all
roast
this
to you
while.
was indirect roast to
my
me too.
God.
We shared. It's
yeah,
shared.
yeah,
We
share,
support each
share.
other.
Yes. Thank you so much.
So you have two millennials here, right? So my question to you guys is that I want you to compare what it was like for a millennial to be 25 and what it was like for a Gen Z to be 25 and what's the core difference. And I think that would answer this question very well. Why do Gen Z work? How do Gen Z work? Why do they want to
What
work?
drives them?
What drives them essentially? Because imagine how, like, can you both tell like one by one Azaan, what were you like when you were 25? And again, remember that you guys are outliers. You guys are not usual millennials. You're not.
I don't think I've changed that much. Yeah, in some ways I've become more stubborn in my ways, but I think I was more like you. I feel like I'm more lost now than I was when I was 25. When I was 25, I had superficial clarity. I was like, I'm finding purpose in my work. Now I'm like, this ain't it. It's part of it, but it ain't it. It's not my identity.
What drove you when you were 25?
Finding my purpose through work.
Acha. What about you?
I think it's pretty much the same.
Pretty much the same.
Yeah. I found great joy in work. I think, and that led me to where I am right now. Yeah.
Do we have millennials in the crew? Are you a millennial?
She's a millennial, no?
No, she's not. She's 22, dude.
22.
Oh,
You're judging too hard.
Oh, millennial.
Are you? How old are you?
Gen Z.
28.
I'm a borderline millennial.
What's
Borderline,
your age?
like diabetic.
Raghavendra? 20?
8 almost.
28. No, you're a millennial, dude. You're old. So listen to me. I don't think the mic can you come here? Is that okay?
No, this will pick up.
It will pick
It's
up, right?
picking up.
Yeah. So Raghavendra, my question to you is, what were you like when you were 25? 3 years back, what were you like?
If anything, a little more laid back, I would say. Lack of clarity has been pretty much a constant, I would say. Still, now I know where I should not venture into, at least in terms of career. Back then, I was still in the process of elimination, what I should not do. I would venture into something, believing that this is something I really want to do. Then I would figure out, okay, this is not for me. I would switch to
Do you feel like you're more confused now?
less confused. In fact, now, like I just mentioned, I know what not to do. I have, fewer options where I know my strength lies in. I would say less confused, not even confused. I just know what are the few options that I have got.
Okay. Saloni, you're 25 right now, right? So, how do you feel about where you are? Why do you work?
I think why do I work? I recently realized that I do find, like, I feel like I found a purpose, and that could be a superficial clarity that I'm at. But I feel like it gives me the space to play, and gives me the space, the choices that I can make for myself. Most of it is driven by the liberty that it gives me, the freedom that it brings to me. I feel at this point of time, I'm in a very, if not now, when, fuck it, let's just do it. I give themes to my years, and this is a practice that has helped me a lot. In 2024, my theme was fun and fulfillment. Everything that I was driven by the question of, is this fun for me? And now this year, the theme is out of my league, or Aukat se bahar. And the sense of liberty that it gives me is like, end of the year, if I don't manage to do things that in my head are beyond me, I can just be like, it was all for the game, all for the theme of going beyond. But that sort of liberty that I have, that is what drives me. I don't want to let go of this liberty. It gives me a sense of purpose in, it could be validation disguised as purpose in my head, but just the fact when people meet IRL and then the stories that come out of it, the impact that you see of the work that you're doing, not just in the marketing space, this is, I'm saying, in the community space also. Like when friendships come out of people who met at Hub, right? Like
6 marriages.
Yeah, I think
really?
that sort of drives you so much. Like you have an impact beyond you, and that gives you a sense of purpose. And that could be something that will switch. That could be something which is evolving. But I think that's what drives me. A couple of things that sort of drive me right now.
I think majority of India, or like we are like the cream of the cream of the cream, folks.
Yeah,
We're like
yeah.
0.0001% folks. Okay? We have to admit to that. Our incomes are abnormal. Us as entrepreneurs, our incomes are abnormal. I think about that a lot. And every time I see an entrepreneur talk about why they work, they'll always like purpose, impact. They'll always touch upon that. And you ask your employees, right? Now I'll come to the actual question I was trying to get to. CEO versus Gen Z mindset. Gone are the days when people work just for stability. What's actually keeping people working, right? So when you ask your employees, I have done this activity, like why do you come to work? And the answer that I keep receiving again and again and again is that दोस्त है मेरे यहाँ पे, मेरे यहाँ अच्छा लगता है, मजा आता है. Because while they're working, while they still are going to be hateful towards clients and they're going to post, oh my god, like really hateful shit about clients in the random channel on Slack, right? It's the fact that they are friends. It's because the fact that they're just hanging out with each other, that they've created a social peer group of sorts, right? What do you think about this?
As you are growing, right, there is always this generation gap that we all talk about, right? So with the younger crowd, there is always going to be, difference of opinion with a lot of things. So only way that you can survive is how far can you be adaptable. It's like, there is a saying, right? Agar aap jab bacha, aapke, thoda like, if they're in teens, right? You should be more of like a friend. You can't be like, if you're holding a stick and then trying to, correct them, they'll become more stubborn. I think it's the same thing to do with even when we are working with Gen Z or whoever, like me having a so-called millennial mindset, but I still have to be adaptable and, see it at a different lens. Then I think,
You're
we
saying
all
that
can
the workplace would be extremely different as a new generation enters every single time.
Yeah, it will. And
Understood.
I think I have to adapt.
You
because
have to
not
adapt.
expect that, they will,
Adapt your ways.
adapt my ways. But you slowly sensitize, you slowly make them understand the value. But I think that will also come over a period of time. Like to be, if I ask you, how are you, how evolved are you from last year to this year? Then obviously you will say life, puts you into so many situations, experiences. You are evolved, you're more tolerant, you're having more patience, a lot of things come into picture. I think this will take time. I think that that conflict, those things will always be there, isn't it?
I love this question, and I was super fascinated by it before. Now I don't think about it as much. Like Elon said something about Dodge, and how he, in essence, when he's getting a lot of slack for it, that he just wants to move people from unproductive roles to better productive roles in the private sector, right? And when we think about people in our office find friendships, people in my office get married, and they're holding pinky fingers and walking around, and they're going for smoke breaks, and they're truly building that relationship. But I think as designers and architects of these ecosystems, which is our companies and our communities, we also have to give them purposeful work.
Right.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, they need something hard to work on. That's our job, right? We do a lot of the hard shit and the admin and the finance and get challenging clients, and then they get a common thing to work on, and that builds that spirit of friendship. And
I totally agree with you, because that's gonna make them be with you for a longer time. If I have to ask you, like, I've been running this agency in 6 years. There's only one, I think about 3 to 4 of them have been there with me since the last 2.5, 3 years. But there is, like, how can you even try and retain the employees? What is that motivating factor? Is money?
no, so that's what he was asking, right? What are they driven by?
Yeah.
They, at the end of the day, in these small organizations, right, it's about the founder's vision,
Yeah.
right? It's about what kind of problems we're trying to solve, and then people want to work on something that matters.
Yeah.
Not, and the byproduct is we'll build the relationships
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
IRL in the
yeah,
community and all of
yeah,
that.
yeah.
But when you stop losing people in your team, it's
Yeah.
not because they don't love each other. It's because they don't find that problem interesting anymore. It's not that perfect balance of challenging but possible.
It's
Right? Too hard is also obviously a problem,
yeah.
right? But too easy is just as much as a problem with the kind of people we work with, which are really smart people.
I think they're also driven by a lot of growth. I think that
if that is aligned, I think
Yeah.
then it's a win-win situation for both of them.
No, I think he said a very interesting point where he mentions that people work because they're solving an interesting problem. That's why they
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
So let's start with Saloni first. Saloni, how did you get your first big client?
But no, honestly, like so far, whatever clients that we've worked with, it's been either referrals or personal network. But one of the big clients, it's a great story. One of the big clients,
Name it. Oh, you can't name it. Shit.
but no, I mean they'll know the context. They won't watch it. But one of the founding team members actually met me at a wedding. And we had a very general conversation around things at a friend's wedding. And then they were like, we want to do something together. It started off as doing something together for conversation. It evolved into something else. And that kind of eventually turned into a retainer client.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, so I think it's a lot of like personal network. But I think one of my biggest strengths and my weakness is the fact that I am the brand ambassador. So I think that's a strength, but it's also a great weakness because it's primarily run by me. And that's something that I want to change, which is the move to Bangalore is a strategic move to that as well.
But is it okay that there's so much of dependency on you
That's what
alone
I'm
as an
saying.
agency?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's one of the weakness. There's a lot of dependency in the business development side of things. But once a client is in, I'm not mostly involved after that.
How do you tackle? Because clients do expect you to be.
They expect me to be there. I think that's what the system that works for me is that I've already told them at the setup itself that I'm going to be available for the next 3 months. And also we have like a different pricing models when it comes to a strategist as me. Like I think if I am coming in as a strategist, then that's something that will be different. And a lot of times, and that's something that's a model that has worked out for me, but I do want to rework on it completely.
I want to give you like a very, very unsolicited piece of advice that it's like an unethical life hack. So if your clients are like, hey, why aren't you coming on calls? I'm like, dude, मेरे को कुछ नहीं आता है, ठीक है? This guy has 7-year experience. I have like 4 years. Come on, man. What will you do with me? They were like, yeah, बात तो सही है. What's the point of having this guy? Let's just deal with their account managers. And that actually ends up working out. I don't go on any client calls. I am not there on any client calls. I tell them I'm not going to come. What will you do about it?
Yeah. Now I haven't been on any client calls for a while now, but I think sales is very dependent on me. That's one thing that still needs to be changed. But yeah, to answer the question, it's all of my big clients have come from. We've never really done an outreach or anything. We've only been working on referrals, and because we only do retainer projects. I've been working with the same people for 4 years also now. So that has kind of given me a lot of space to build and grow in a different way.
Plus, like when you work with someone for this long period of time, there's a mutual trust there. No?
Yeah.
Like even if deliverables are not on, they'll still release the money.
They don't look at deliverables anymore. So because 4 years now, you forget like 4 years is. So that's something which is there. And I'm working with the first client that we onboarded when I started off as like bunch of 4 people who just graduated and want to do something. So we're working with the same brand still.
What about you, Aditya?
You're talking about my first big client?
Yeah, first big client. How did it happen?
I think it happened through referral only.
Like how did it happen?
So
tell us the story of how you got to that point where you were like, fuck, this is it.
Yeah, I think I'm part of a lot of network groups because that was the first go-to move for my sales and building the business.
What was your you didn't have a case study or portfolio for the first client, even though you learned to be in the group for networking. So how do you crack the deal?
So just to give you, I already had a very good, when I left the organization, the Harikshana movement, I already had, few of them who were associated with the movement, and then, they had seen my work. So they just hired me.
Got it.
Without any portfolio and stuff like
Got
that.
it.
Then I just started, and trust me, within about 10 months, I had 10 people. Of course, COVID hit, and then we became 2.5. That's another
2.5?
story. Yeah.
People.
So you
Yeah,
have
2.5.
someone who's short here.
Probably.
Oh, I think he means
Part-time.
part-time. Oh, okay.
I was wondering also, what is
No.
this 2.5?
Yeah.
Kahan pe wo? Everyone has like, I got this big client through this. Okay, my biggest client is from Dubai. I feel, bro, your biggest client is from a different planet.
My biggest client, my first client, was and will always be myself. Because I have like a bunch of things that I want to build in my life. And I see like the agency model as a very simple, it's very, very simple the way that like we do agencies. You solve a problem through X. Through design, you solve a problem. Through video, you solve a problem. Through strategy, you solve a problem. Through event, you solve a problem, right? When I graduated and came back 8 years ago, it took me about 6 months of loafing around and created Safina Ventures, Venture Studio, went and met so many people. Everybody thought I want to invest in them. It's like, no, that's not the idea. But then eventually got stuck for a bit. And my dad said, go down, sit in the basement. We have this hotel, which is inside Safina Plaza that nobody knows of. They know about the mall. So I was like, okay, I need to solve this problem. And that's how I started getting creative, which was that how do I fill a hotel? So we branded it as co-living. We marketed it. We filled up 100% of the property. Then we said, okay, what do we do next? There was one lobby which was like deserted. We said, okay, let's like apply design and apply marketing and fill that up. We filled that up. Then there were 2 abandoned terraces which were like just cement. We built that up into banquet spaces. We've kind of, I don't think you can fill a banquet space, but we started to monetize it as much as we thought we could. So I just use it as like, I use creativity and agency model to actually solve problems.
Yeah.
And then maybe then once we ran out of problems to solve within our property, I was like, okay, you know what? And COVID.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, now what do I sell? Okay, maybe we make content.
Yeah.
And then brands started coming to us. And then we said, okay, let's see where we can kind of solve some problems.
Yeah.
Very, very internally driven
Damn.
setup.
Did you not have any problem from your parents
No.
or family
no,
side?
No.
Okay.
You would expect that story with that narrative to be here, but no, incredible support.
Wow. How about you?
Incredible support.
Wow.
Nothing.
I just manipulated them.
I love your answer. I wish I would have answered the same. But yeah, similar. I think that is something that is there. But when you think of client, I mean, I always say that we've onboarded Conversations as a client or beyond. We've always done it, and that's the.
I don't know if your
exchange.
agency team works on your distribution. Do they?
I'm too small to do that yet. It'll take me another 6
But
months
does
to get
anybody write a script for you for when you get a brand deal or for your content, or do they help you with anything, or is that a separate?
There is a separate team internally within the agency of 3 people who focus towards that. There are like a couple of freelancers and 1 full-time person.
Got it.
We have an 18-year-old girl, Ria. She is prodigious in terms of how she operates. Fucking love how she operates. She's very smart, understands identification, understands how to use AI tools upside down. Taught it to herself, apne aap se. I gave her nothing. I'm a bad teacher, guys. You can assume, no.
The reason why, like, I think we should think in that direction when we're small, like, where I'm my biggest client. It's not like an ego thing or a flex thing. It's that's where you have the most leverage, right?
Yeah.
If you're that's
an asymmetrical bet you're taking.
But oftentimes what happens
but
is,
those are the ones that are worth betting on, right? Otherwise, it's not a bet at all.
Asymmetrical bets are good to take. They should be taken,
Yeah.
right? So my father has always said this. And this is where I also come from. Like, if you're good at something, don't do it for free. If you're damn good at something, right, do it for yourself.
Yeah.
So that's the same logic. That's why you're building Conversations. He's building Adiverse. You're building The Hub.
The one thing, Saloni, you said, right, which is what when I was starting out, it was so important to me that I keep my first client. You said I still have.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, I don't know if once you are doing it longer, I don't know if that's the best thing unless that client's growing. My first client was like maybe $5,000.
Yeah.
Like my most recent one, like $50,000.
Yeah.
So I need to figure out how to go to the next level. How do I solve a harder problem? How do I like challenge myself to become that good? And I don't know if that's the interesting thing with the team and with the clients.
Yeah.
Is that like you either like pull them up with you,
Yeah.
or you have to figure out
Yeah.
how to
I
pull
think
yourself up.
It gives a lot of space to, like, it's so automated right now that it's a source of revenue and growth which has been automated.
Right.
Like,
It's just flowing.
yeah, it's just flowing. I don't do anything. I've not seen that
It's such a
accountant.
weird feeling. मैं काम क्यों नहीं कर रहा हूँ यार आज? मैंने काम ही नहीं है मेरे पास. Like judge नहीं करेगी टीम बैठा रहता है.
No, but in the whole hustle, right? In this, running the business and everything, sometimes you tend to forget that you need to look, give importance to your own self.
Oh, that's where I'm at now.
Yeah.
Like
you said,
this
I
year
really
is
like
about
that.
that.
I really like that. What you said, that I'm the biggest client for myself. That is something that we often tend to forget, or
It's there, not in the highlight.
not in the highlight.
It's there, not in the highlight. But it is the P1 client for sure. Like in the list of things, P1, it has to
But
be.
the thing is, you'll say that on this camera, and then you'll go and then you will divert resources back to your clients because that's where you'll think short-term return aa raha hai wahan se mere ko. That will happen.
Somehow that has not happened so far. That my first, like the best of the videographers, the best of the scriptwriters, the best of all of it will be first deployed to Conversations.
I hope your clients are watching this.
Yeah, no, it's okay. They know it though.
That's good, dude. That's really nice.
Yeah.
That's really nice to hear. I'm still struggling with that problem. Do you feel clients try to optimize for paisa vasool? They try to get the bang out of the buck. Is that the case?
I think in that 0 to 1 simple language, rich clients and poor clients, right? And when people generalize as India, because we're still a developing nation, right? Like it's a lot of money for us.
Yeah.
For a majority of India, and where the managers are coming from, it's a big amount, right? So it's a big deal. So they want to maximize. When you go to Western cultures, they're like, it's like helicopter money.
No, but
so the attachment to the money and the expectation of the ROI and the responsibility, and it's my first job, I'm the first one in my family to go to college. Those are the things that shape that value should come from this.
But what I have seen is when there is an Indian MNC and then there is a Western MNC, the cultures are very, very different, because I cater to a lot of corporate clients, MNC clients, right? Because I don't deal with brands much. So what the glaring difference that I have seen is, when the Western MNCs, when they are dealing with us as an agency, they're very, very clear with their, the way they want to operate, vendor onboarding, and the negotiation factor and everything.
I hate that word, vendor onboarding.
No, because that's what we.
No, I know. We all have to go through.
Yeah, we have to go through. But then the Indian MNCs, sorry, I mean, I don't mind, being very blunt. They without even looking at the estimate and things like that, they just want to say that your price, you're very exorbitant. But I know that nobody can give it at that rate, but they just want to exploit you. Then
go on, complete.
Even after we getting onboarded, they just want to make sure that every ounce of your blood and sweat is deployed into the work.
The thing is ki Indian corporates have that culture of trying to exploit outside vendors purely because, again, we're going back to ground zero. Ground zero kya tha? Ground zero was essentially the fact that Indians are largely social status run. You need to realize that our country essentially accounts for about 1/9 of the world population, 1/8 of the world's population, most populous country, which means extensive competition for literally pennywise wages, right? So when a vendor comes, everyone's trying to impress their boss that, hey, I will do the best for the company and I will make the shareholders maximum value. They will try to optimize for that. I've worked with very, very small startups. Very, very small. I've also worked with public companies. I've also worked with unicorns, soonicorns. I've worked with celebrities, and one thing I've kept on noticing is that if the decision maker is in the loop, right, that loop is about to get fucked. That loop is about to get fucked. You know why? Because the decision maker will think that I know everything.
Yeah.
But when a decision maker has an employee who's in the loop and the company has a healthy work environment, they'll be fine. But if the company has an unhealthy work environment, deal is gone. We don't even want to touch the deal. It's so toxic. It has happened multiple times. We've let go of deals because we understood that these folks are not good to work with.
Yeah.
They will micromanage us. They will negotiate with us. They will do very chindipana. They will just do full paisa vasooli, and we are like, bro, we don't care. It's a fixed price. You pay it. You don't want to pay it, don't pay it. We'll go to
But
someone else.
also as founders, again, is when we're smaller organizations, are probably the best thing we can do first from a sales perspective, which it's tough, right? And it's dependent on us, is you decommoditize the business.
Okay.
What
What
we
do
have
you
to find
mean
our
by-
own way of doing it, which is that I'm not just offering a video to you.
Okay.
Right? With everything we offer, I will solve your fucking business problem through design or through video or through whatever it is that we want to do.
Yeah.
I will solve the problem. What is that problem worth to you? And I will take a piece of that.
Yeah.
It's taken me 8 years to be able to have the confidence to say that and to be able to do that and execute it. We're not the best at it still. But I think we have to move from the commodity, which today video is a commodity.
Yes.
You're not
Because
selling a
everyone in India
service,
can do
You're
it.
serving a solution.
Yes.
Correct.
Right? And with AI, that's going to become more important.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a lot contextual, and
Yeah.
what you said, I agree to both of you all in that sense. One, what context we are going from, like what are we trying to solve for, and what context they're coming from, the scale and the team and structure, internal structure. I feel like there are clients which do the paisa vasool approach to things, but then it's about us to identify.
Yeah,
who are we
yeah,
working with.
absolutely.
I think a problem that every young agency founder in their first year will encounter. So this is not my first agency. First one got acquired. Taken. This is the second time I'm doing this. A lot of one mistake they will make is they will not have sales for a month. They will panic. They're like, I had 30 leads, none of them closed. I am panicking. I will take whatever I get now. And they end up closing the shittiest, lowest ticket client that they can possibly find. But they don't realize that they are using resources at hand on something that will not make them great margins in the future and might actually lead to talent attrition in the long run. They're not looking at that. See, we might have small team sizes 40, 50, 20. That is okay. But talent attrition is still a thing for us, right? That is, I feel like that's a problem that people will face. And I would say that those folks, those young founders, bro, fucking like, take shit, man. Take on debt if you want to. Ask money from somewhere else. Pay off the salaries. Do not take a client which is small. Stay true to your ground. Hold your ground.
No, that it's true. I've gone through that cycle. It happens to us. It happens to everybody.
Yeah,
but also then we speak from privilege when we say don't take that, because
Yeah.
what do you do? It's like if you're a freelancer and you don't have work, what do you do? Not everyone has access to debt. Even as you're larger, also sometimes you have like other things you're doing.
Yeah.
It's for me, it's like
credit
building.
line to nahi hai sab pe. That is true. I understand that.
But what you're saying is so true, and it happens and it fucks up the long-term stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
At the same time, see, Steve Jobs, I think there's a very popular Steve Jobs quote which says, when the fishermen are not fishing, they are fixing their nets. Right.
But the fishermen need food to eat while they fix the nets.
यार एक बात बताओ, इंडिया में खाना खाने के लिए कितना पैसा चाहिए?
Salaries.
We're talking
No,
from
salaries, the
privilege.
investment,
We're talking a
you know.
lot from privilege.
Yeah.
Agreed, yeah, but I would still suggest that
Coming
you
from
छोटे
privilege,
clients मत
I've been like bumbled by this scenario,
Yeah.
and I want to do what he's saying. Sometimes I do it. Right now I'm doing it. I told you when I came in, I'm burning just because I don't want to do the wrong thing. But there's been times when I couldn't do it before. Now I have like multiple cash flow engines, so that I try to diversify and hedge. But it's hard, right? That's what we want to all aim to and aspire to be in a position of fuck you money.
Yeah.
I'll do only when it's right.
Yeah.
But that's the goal.
yeah.
But I think it's gonna take. So in that context, if I have to ask you, let's say if someone is starting a business or an agency right now in 2025, how long do you think? I think you also made a reel out of it. Like what would be the ideal time? Like 2 years, 3 years,
For?
5 years, to have some kind of stability in this
I'm the wrong
space.
person to answer this question.
That's the wrong person.
It's unpredictable, right?
There's no,
I think I don't, there's no
That's a
roadmap.
predict-
There's
yeah.
no like one single way of doing things.
See,
Yeah.
in a scenario where there are a lot of solutions to a single problem, right? It is when you need to realize that there's no single solution. Everybody has their own solution.
Yeah.
Be it any stream of work, be it any career, be it like FANG, be it JEE, be it anything. If there are multiple solutions on the internet, bro, you have to find your own. That's just how it works.
I think, but in general, the one thing I believe is that cycles are getting shorter and shorter and shorter.
Oh yeah.
Right? Like even if you're building an app, you would be like, there's leverage. It'll be like 10 years, there's a decade that if it works. Now those cycles are also getting shorter, and this is the shortest of the shortest business model cycles.
Oh, yeah.
See, I think that's why I believe that hyper niche is going to be something that will still help you keep that leverage of having something that runs for 10 years.
Yeah.
Like imagine building something like AstroTalk. It's a very niche market, but look at it, it's doing fantastic, it's doing phenomenal. No? Next thing that the host here would like to ask you guys is, what do you think about...
Co-host.
Yeah,
Co-host, he's like, can I at least have co-host titles in the credits?
Co-host, please.
So the thing that I want to ask is, so we have Saloni here. Okay, Saloni believes in small agency. ठीक है. Aditya, I'm not sure about. I believe that you believe in big agency.
I don't
and
exist
scale.
anymore here.
I don't believe in agency. For the record, if anyone's
Yeah,
watching, do not
me
start an
neither.
agency. Okay, sorry.
Agency can be a means to an end, as you
No,
said.
there are people who
Bade
build
selfish
great
log hai yaar ye
agencies.
to.
No,
I feel
is
like
it a
you-
fancy thing? Somebody who wants to, come out of this, creative school and
Like he said, right, it works for you, whatever.
Yeah.
For me, I really don't like that word. I don't like that model. Like he said, you squeeze labor and sweatshop and you maximize utility and efficiency. I feel like it's not me.
Acha,
I need to find leverage in the business model so I don't have to sweat the talent.
right.
And that's the journey that I've been on.
So essentially, you're like acquiring talent and renting talent's time
In the agency model.
Yeah, in the agency model, so that you can use it on other projects. And I feel like the reason I mentioned ki agency model is an HR thing is because it's an HR agency essentially. Whatever
Correct,
agency you're
correct.
into,
Talent agency, yeah.
you're holding talent,
Right.
great talent on the side, so that you
Right.
can build other things.
Right, but it's also weird, right? You're acquiring talent, you're trying to draw a fence around them, and then you're trying to maximize the value of that talent. That is not exactly in my head a sustainable game, right? I prefer to like co-build things with talent.
Bringing avenues
and
for
like,
them to
I don't know.
channelize.
I don't know if everybody wants to do that and deal with the complexities of building projects and building things. But that's what's fun to me.
Interesting, very interesting. So we have 4 agency founders. She mentioned you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have Aditya here. Aditya, I want to ask you: do you want to scale or stay lean or stay small? What's the scene?
I want to scale, and that's how I built another company called Clipit,
Yeah,
which is a design
I've been seeing
platform.
its ads on
Yeah, we
LinkedIn.
got funded. I mean, we got the seed round, and then now we are scaling up. We have hired insane marketers for our performance. Then, so we have been able to collaborate with a lot of folks from the network, and then let's see how it goes. I mean, we are putting all
Godspeed,
our
dude, touch
efforts. Yeah, we are putting all our efforts, and yeah. So that scalable thing is there. वो कीड़ा है अंदर.
We all have it, no?
Yeah.
Maybe for someone, scalable is the agency model.
Itself.
There are people that are meant to scale an agency.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm that person. I've learned that I'm not that person.
नहीं agency में कैसे scale हो सकता है?
अरे,
Unless you
look
don't
at
have
Shebang.
commodity.
Shebang,
Right?
yeah.
Like,
look at Shebang.
Yeah, and there can be niche.
Is like
There can be niche.
creative.
Right, but there can be niche solution scalable companies.
Unless you don't.
There's an agency called
productize-
Design Joy. Have you heard of it? Design Joy in the US. It's a design subscription business. One man, $1 million MRR.
Oh,
One man, 20 clients. There are ways.
there are ways. Yeah. That's what we try to do in Clipit, which is a little different from the agency model. So, yeah, I would like the viewers to take a look at it.
Tell us about
Like
Clipit.
Clipit,
Like,
dekh lo.
explain the
Yeah.
So
premise.
it's primarily an Uber for design services.
Okay. Like a marketplace.
It's a marketplace.
Ah.
So we have the designers,
Oh, I love
the
that.
freelancers, or it could be agencies as well. And then we have kind of productized the whole services, the
Okay.
design services.
Okay.
It could be logo, it could be brochure, it could be flyer, it could
Fiverr
be
for design.
invitations.
Fiverr.
Fiverr for design, but then this is going the price is fixed.
What do you mean?
The product price is fixed.
Oh,
The
okay.
product
Buy.
price.
Okay, yeah.
and
yeah.
also the delivery time.
But what about the talent?
Talent, we have currently in-house designers, around 10 of them.
Oh,
And then
so
we have-
it's not a marketplace
it's an
then.
No.
agency, but
And we have
Productized
the
agency. It's like
Productized-
Design Joy kind of a.
Yeah, and then
Okay.
but we have 50 freelancers onboarded already. So
Got
we
it.
kind
It's
of
a
there
little
are
bit of
project
both.
managers who kind of for quick delivery service, there's a premium price that they have to pay,
Got it.
and that mostly we do.
This
with
is
the
live now?
in-house It's live.
I'll start using it.
It's been 3 months since we
Pepper
have.
Content does this for content.
Who does?
Pepper Content.
Pepper did for copy, right?
Copy.
Yeah,
content.
yeah.
Pepper
Pepper
did
did for.
for
I guess
copy.
that's. How's that doing, by the way? I haven't heard
don't
seen
know.
the
Have you
ad or
heard
nothing.
AI and all, no. The people do Pepper
mm.
AI or something, and
Yeah.
I'm not sure. After that, I stopped
It's
hearing.
it's hilarious because a marketplace like Uber eventually goes to autonomous. So one side gets whacked out.
Yeah.
A marketplace Pepper goes to AI. What happens with design? I don't know.
Yeah.
But
still, AI
Like-
hasn't come to a stage where we are threatened
Graphics.
by it.
जब
At
तक
least
पैसा
at
बना
this
के
point.
बना लेते
हाँ, अभी कर लेते हैं.
अभी कर लेते
जितना fast हो सकता है उसको.
I
scale
just feel
करेंगे.
I feel
Yeah.
guilty as someone building that model. कि
Yeah.
building it on the backs of drivers,
Mhm.
and I'm going to replace them with autonomous. It's like that. That's
Yeah.
it's interesting, right?
That's the guilt of being an entrepreneur running agencies. Like, none of us actually want to run agencies. We're doing it as a means to an end.
Yeah.
We are really cruel and evil people who all go to therapy
That's why we go to therapy.
Or you'll
to feel better about
or
ourselves.
you'll send the others.
That
to
is
the
already
therapy.
done. Let's
Yeah.
not talk about it.
Now
So-
I need therapy.
He's just free because he sends so many referrals.
Yeah.
She's like, Amaha Health must be so grateful for my help.
Mhm.
They're the reason they're active. I'm the reason they're active. So,
Mast lag dala.
okay. It's like it's again a rhetorical question because I believe that everyone would be like, hey, kya hai?"
You're cancelling the
So-
host script question by question.
No, but it's because
First you roasted him, now he's roasting his script.
I'm not roasting the script. I'm kind of saying that we already know the answers to this. So I don't want to delve into a yes or no. I want to delve into the mechanics of the yes or no rather than that, right? Like it's not seeking opinions from Aditya, Saloni or Azaan here, but rather seeking I'm probably sure that all of us think toxic work environments don't really pan out in the long run, right? Then why the fuck do L&T uncles go on there and be like 70 hours, bro? You're staring at your wife too much. What will you do on Sunday? Come work.
I think
Why is that
that's
happening?
that's the thing which like is so interesting to me, since let's say you're a Gen Z making that statement.
Just hold on for a second. Does anyone think that one should work 70 hours a week?
No.
No.
I think it's freedom of expression. Like
If
that's
I
the thing.
want-
Okay, Azaan thinks.
That's the thing with distribution, right? Everybody say whatever the fuck they want to say. On one side, we're like, how can you not say what you want to say when it comes to, let's say, even beer biceps? What
Yeah.
happened, right? But then when an L&T uncle says something like that, like everyone say what they want to say, everyone do what they want to do, everyone is right. Like, what is the conversation?
So, matlab,
Is it an imposition? No, right?
but there are companies who are still imposing that.
No, I don't.
Then
think
don't
so.
work there.
Yeah.
Somebody, see, if someone tells me how to run my company, I'm going to tell them fuck off. So someone's running that company. They're doing it their way. People, voting mechanism is taking the job, is watching the content, is sharing the content, is engaging with the content.
Why do
Be right.
companies see if it's like the correlation between work hours and efficiency is not there, it's the correlation does not exist. Why do companies and bosses across country still enforce it? Is it like an exposure problem or what's the
They're
scene
trying to find a system that works
for them?
across everything. So they're trying to generalize solutions. We have the privilege of being small, so we can have solutions which does not work, like solutions that work for every team. If they're trying to do that, if you try to generalize a solution, it will come up to a place where it feels unreal. And I'm not taking the side that, we should work 70 hours a day. I just feel like that's how they reached there, probably. That come at 11, like come at 9. Come at 11 is a very agency thing to say. But come at 9 sharp or the salaries will be cut. And that is primarily, they're trying to figure out what works in a general human behavior. You and I meet every team member. They don't.
This is such an empathetic diplomatic
That's the
conversation.
word that I was going to say. It's understanding empathy, right? It's understanding empathy with people that you disagree with and don't understand, because we can't fathom the challenge they have managing 50,000 people. We think we know everything with 50. We thought we knew with 25. 50,000. That guy is like, he's getting wiped out.
Yeah.
Imagine
what
that
do
poor
you
fellow.
think, Aditya, about this situation? What do you think? What are your thoughts?
I think it's very contextual, I feel. Because even if he has made that statement, probably it is for him.
It's his truth.
It's his truth. Yes, that's the right word to put. Yeah.
All three of you run agencies that produce organic content. All three of you are giving very diplomatic answers. So I will give a...
My own team member, he works for, probably 60 hours or 70 hours, and he's...
Which one, Raghavendra?
None of... He's not
Why
sitting
don't-
here.
He's
on a
working
holiday.
60 hours because
He's
he's not
now he's
using
on a
it.
holiday.
Now he's on a holiday too. He said, tomorrow
Cuddly
for your
aside,
podcast, I'm not there. I'm like, really?
He's like, I'm so used to seeing you here.
So,
It's
but
like
that,
he comes to office, opens door, he's like, wahan pe so ja.
listen, I'm an entrepreneur, and if I work for 70 hours a week, then that's my truth, that's my choice. But your truth, your choice can be very different from mine.
I just want to ask you guys, anyone has a profit share program in their agency? Does everybody have it?
I would love to do that one day.
We just deployed it 2 quarters ago.
Mhm.
And to me, that's the solution. Do you have one?
रहा 1 साल होने दो पहले.
So
Too young of an agency.
no, I think okay, whatever works again, right?
Yeah,
But for me, why I'm sharing is, I've learned this like after like trying everything. I'm like now I'm only doing this. You come in at a lower base. I have give you a high reward structure. You work how much ever you want. You come whenever you want. You sell something, you get 5%. You work on it, you get 10%. You make so much. Here's a blueprint of how you can make. How much you want to make? You want to make this much, or this much. You work that much, or that much. 1 month you work less, you make less.
Where
I
does
want to talk about
where
this.
does the profit share structure start? Does it start at the lowest employees?
Starts every single person, including my finance and my HR, gets profit share. It's the most complex model
You
I've
have
ever
a
built in my
document
life.
of this.
Have it, yeah.
Can
I'm
you share
still
it?
refining it every quarter. I refine it. They're like ये नहीं चल रहा है, वो नहीं चल रहा है. Internal काम के लिए कैसे चलेगा? When there's revenue tied to it, कैसे चलेगा? But I'm like, this is what I'm meant to do as entrepreneurs. It's like figure out this, then everything else, because time and money, right?
Yeah.
So then just build some kind of a system.
Yeah, please be benevolent and then share it. Share that Excel sheet.
I run an
with
agency.
all
I'll
of us.
consult and build for you.
Oh yeah.
I'll solve your problem through this service. I'm kidding. I'll be happy to share.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
He's
I
not
think
kidding.
the ecosystem of how.
I mean, if you're willing to pay, I'm not kidding.
Oh yeah.
We're evil.
Yeah.
इसके एक क्लाइंट में मेरा
So
पूरा
way of-
रेवेन्यू जाएगा. ठीक है. Great. So I think we have arrived at a conclusion. We will use the next 5 minutes लेगा, मैं तो ले रहा, ठीक है. Next few minutes to discuss our final thoughts. Where do you think the agency business is headed? Like, are we all dying? I think we are all dying. Aditya.
No, it's gonna stay. It's gonna
stay. Do you
Yeah,
think
yeah.
like creative agencies making static carousels and reels will exist 5 years from now?
Not in that sense.
Okay.
But then the agency business will stay. It will flourish. That's what my understanding is. Maybe it can take different forms, different shapes, but then it will continue to exist. And a lot of AI definitely going to impact. But then if you are, taking advantage of that opportunity and then trying to create something out of it, then, it'll definitely work.
Interesting. What do you guys
I think what Azaan said, that agency is basically us problem solving, solving a problem A through X. I think the A and X variables will keep changing, but the statement still stays.
Actually,
For
all
example-
gig workers would enter the economy.
They will 100%. But I think a lot of structure will be required for solving a lot of problems at different scales. And that's where agencies will come in. The survival of the fittest will happen where how quickly can we change our solutions, and how quickly can we adopt into newer solutions.
Yeah, and that's how, even Clipit, the idea came out, right? Like, we wanted to solve that, the problem.
I think what he said is more gig workers will come in. I think they won't come in, they'll be kicked in. Because there'll be no other option. On the second side, I think how I'm modeling at least my strategy, agencies will go from creation to curation. Because that's what AI will allow us to do.
True.
So
Decision making.
building systems for curation is different from building systems for creation. And I'm actually realized I'm a curation system guy, not so much a creation system guy, because my talent isn't on the creation side. So for me, it's super fascinating to build a curation-led agency.
Interesting.
Can you say more about curation?
Simple example, right? We have a media asset called Barely Opinionated. Again, I learn by solving my problem, then I scale it and offer it to other people. So this was built with me and Rohit, my co-founder. A couple of months ago, I bought him out, and now it's entirely managed by me. When it was me and him, it was his face. I was like the back end, right? And the whole media asset and channel and community was built with his face. Now, I'm like, okay, what do I do? I'm not a creator. And then if I put one creator, there's dependency on that creator. If I put multi-face creators, I already have an asset like that. That's the hub, right? So we said, let's take a curation approach to this community. Let's leverage AI and one junior resource. And let's generate 100 million impressions a month. And that's what we've been able to do with curation of news. You can do curation of niche interest-based topics like food.
I am so addicted to your posts, dude. So fucking addicted.
I'm
Why
glad
do
somebody's consuming it.
dude, why do I need to know that Trump said this about India? I don't need to know, but I'm still reading it. I'm like,
it's there, na? It's better than brain rot, right? Which the hub produces.
Yeah.
like I feel so smart. Like it's
Chill out,
Yeah,
fun,
yeah.
happy
Azaan,
vibes and stuff.
It's really useless information that makes me feel very smart about myself.
Ooh, that's a great insight.
But somewhere, no, that insight, since you're a creative professional, you feel like that insight's giving me an accurate perception of reality.
Now, you're creating a source of information for me that I think is valuable to me. Now, my YouTube is changing to geopolitics. And that is because of you guys, because of where you're opinionated.
Interesting.
Yeah. Great work, dude. Great work.
But
Rohit
again,
and
right,
you guys.
I really feel like when we do this, we can't take credit. We are curating. We are not creating that.
अरे strategize तो कर रहे हो ना यार.
Correct. वो
Take the
correct.
compliment by.
Take. Thank you. Compliment.
Okay. So,
Guys, follow Barely Opinionated, please. Everybody, in
Yes.
person on camera. Thank you. Okay.
so
I'm loving the amount of plugs.
Yeah.
The
Love
agency
it.
owners, after
Yeah.
all, what would we be doing if we're not doing?
okay. If you had to start from scratch today, or if you had to, like, your agency dies tomorrow, our businesses go top, right? You need to start from scratch.
If
Right,
you
pick up
ask
the
me, I would like to, if everything goes berserk,
Uh-huh.
I would like to follow my passion, which is probably teaching.
Teaching.
Yeah, I
What
would love
you
to do
teach?
that.
What would you teach?
I would like to teach theater because basically I come from theater background. That was my first introduction to, you know,
There's so many layers to you that
Yeah.
you slowly.
Yeah, it's
unveil.
like
I'm
Could
glad
have
you're
never
here.
guessed.
I have acted, I have directed plays, so probably, you know, that's what I would want to do.
Interesting.
At any given point of time, you know, I would definitely
do you
choose
like
that over.
enjoy directing?
Yeah, I love that. And you know, one of the reasons why I started the business agency also, like, you know, let me make movies, let me be creative. Now most of my time I spend on spreadsheets.
Yeah,
Like
that's what
practically,
happens, right?
you know,
that's what happens.
that's what
right?
happens. And I feel like, oh, okay, okay, one day I will do that. One day I will do that.
That
Do
will
you,
be the
do you
one
think
day.
you'll commit to that one day? One day?
Yes,
You'll just
certainly.
go into theater.
Certainly, I would want to.
He's such a fascinating person who looks like very straightforward and like monk, theater, what else? Agency, product. You should sell your car. Then you can finally have
You're
that.
forgetting
What?
podcast was.
Oh yeah,
Oh, but you took
podcast.
that away from me.
See,
What a stage
he's picking on you now.
No,
Hey.
I'm
Oh, that was for
Azaan.
you.
I thought that was just me. I didn't recognize. Okay.
That's
Saloni.
only for this episode. I've been benevolent. Please just be happy with that.
What does
Because-
benevolent
Philanthropy.
mean?
See, you know that is there in me to be.
I'm enjoying this.
To give. So I'm just being nice. That's it.
I'm not being rude.
That's another thing, right? Millennials have that thing of giving, but Gen Zs only have a taking.
This is such a long
What
argument.
do Gen Z give? Reels.
Gen Z, yes, see, that's the case.
We
with
bring
any younger
energy to the
generation.
table, spontaneity
Okay,
to the
some
table.
No.
Gen Zs.
I think Gen Zs are supposed to take, dude. They're supposed to take from the table because they have nothing to offer. What will they offer?
Energy.
They have to still take part in society in one way or the other.
We'll give to the next
Acha, nahi, yaar,
generation.
we're talking about you. What do you want to build in, if not your agency? Let's talk about that.
The answer can't be something that I'm already building. I think at this
It
point of
can- it
time,
can
I'm at a junction where I have to decide whether I want to continue building the agency or not. I'm already at that junction. Me being in Bangalore is after that decision that I'll decide in 2 months' time whether I want to continue with the agency or not, or I will size it down and work, like, double down on what I'm already doing. But I think community and experiences space has given me so much in the last 2 years that I feel like that's where I will explore doing more things. I think bringing people together is something which is there. And I think second, if I ever had to do anything activism, I will do in the space of women. Like, just generally what, to bring more women on the table of conversations.
Interesting.
I think that's something that I am innately motivated and innately curious about. I have lived a very privileged life. I don't think I have faced any of the things that usually people, women do. Thanks to the family being incredibly supportive and all of these things. I think I know women around me who haven't been able to reach their full potential in any aspect of things. I know people who are coming from very privileged families, but they are not privileged enough to do things the way that they want to. They don't have agency over anything that they do. And these women exist in metro cities with the extreme exposure, great education, all of those things. But there's so much to it that can be explored. And I think building ecosystems not just for women. I think women can't be at places if the ecosystem does not have men in it. So men will have to be equally a part of it. And I think something on, I don't know exactly what, but when I start building it, I'll probably eventually understand. But this is from whatever conversations that I've had in the last few months, I'm realizing that I'm innately motivated and curious
To help women.
to do something in the space of women. And
To help your kind.
yeah, I'd like to say if I am empowered,
Because
I want
if
to
you
pass
see
down
suffering,
that.
you feel like, okay, why is this existing in the first place?
Yeah, why is this existing in the flaws? I've not suffered through it in some
Irrespective of
aspect.
that.
In some aspect, of course, being a woman founder comes with its own this thing, and I don't like to attach that title to myself. But it comes with its own challenges, which are very different. But I think I know people who have thrived. I have people who I look up to who have thrived through it. But I want to build an ecosystem where we're doing more of those things. And I think I find my purpose with it.
I really look forward to an India where founders who are closeted and women are actually accepted as entrepreneurs as they are, rather than being looked upon by their identities.
Yeah.
You know, just like how I really want young people to be looked with the same amount of respect as older ones, right? But I think that democratization will take time, but it will happen.
That
inevitably.
disparity is always there.
Yeah,
It continues to exist, but hopefully, in the years to come by, there will be a lot more women.
Yeah.
Yeah, entrepreneurs.
That is.
Azaan, sir, what would you like to build if the hub shut down tomorrow?
It's funny, every year since we started the agency, we reset. We've never had a January where we go in with the same clients. So every year I actually do start from scratch. It's wild. And I burn in Jan and Feb, and then I recover by the end of the year. For me, this is like a challenge. It's like a game. I needed to get my insecurities out that can I build something. And an agency was like a low risk testing ground for that. So I now feel like I should be in a place where I can build for myself. And I can not only build distribution, but then I can leverage that distribution to create value and monetize it and close the loop. And that's the direction I want to head in. I'm trying to go step by step towards that, but I feel like by the end of this year, I'll jump into it. And I really hope I can.
That's cool.
Interesting, dude. Very
Interesting,
interesting.
yeah. That resetting aspect of it, I think that's amazing. Yeah.
It's great to retain talent, but it's terrible to retain your balance sheet.
It's very interesting, dude.
Yeah.
Resetting your agency on a
Yearly basis.
It's not like I
Yeah.
premeditated, planned it, but it's
Yeah.
happened year after year so far.
And then now you've adapted it as a system.
And the cycle is either also it's between calendar year and financial year. It happens exactly then.
crazy, dude.
Cool.
If I was not building an agency, I would be in 3 roles. Either of these 3 roles, could be any of these 3 roles, I'll be happy in them. I'll either be a spy, or I'll be a lawyer, or I'll be a sociologist. Any of the 3 works, I will enjoy my life to the fullest. So,
He would be a good sociologist because he could experiment on himself. Lawyer because he can cross-examine. Spy, I don't know. I think Vyom could be a spy.
He seems very unpredictable to me, so he
wow,
could.
He
dude.
would draw too much attention, I feel.
Yeah.
Maybe that would just be a countered intelligence
It
mechanism.
No,
must
that's
be like
just-
this
I
is
think,
the mask.
Yeah,
There's
a
something
lot of
behind.
facade.
He can be a
I
very
just-
good
I
undercover.
just- I really like it when I take like an event and I drive it towards a direction that I feel would make it a lot more valuable and fun at the same time.
You just showed it to us.
Yeah.
So that is the thing. So
But you shouldn't have said it now. It's not as cool.
Yeah.
yeah,
I thought you were better than that, bro. You just explained your strategy. Weak.
No, I think it comes naturally. I can't control it. But yeah. So the last question, I think that it's Aditya's right place to say this question out loud because I feel he's much more qualified to say it.
Very simple. What's your mantra for success? It's a very personal question.
Good lord. Saloni, you should take this one first. I feel like you'd be the closest one to give a good answer.
Because in a way, we are all successful.
Hmm.
I think that's what I like to feel.
Mm.
Like maybe in small
Subjectively.
ways. Subjectively,
Yeah.
yes. But what's your mantra?
I'm trying to think in a very overarching manner, of course, but I think I lead with intention. Like my act as always like intention first, but the mantra changes every year. As I said, right, like my mantra changes everywhere. That's the space from where I operate. In the first 2 months, in December, Jan, Feb, I figure out what the mantra is for this year, and then I continue to stick to it. So I think that's not a very insightful, very wise answer, but
But if I have to put it in one way, like, a philosophy that you would believe in to remain that in a very positive spirit and have a positive outlook, come what may, whatever happens in the business.
this is also some sort of a belief statement for conversations, but we say that let people walk into your life with possibilities, perspectives, and plot twists. And that kind of keeps me there, that no matter what, like, I will always let people, like, today we're sitting here, I said yes, this say yes more often is another sort of mantra. I said yes today, I don't know where this is going to eventually end up being. A lot of things, life works in a butterfly effect. We say yes to one thing, it leads to another, and you'd never know that you literally built another direction for yourself. So I think saying yes more often, letting people walk into the life, being open to whatever possibilities they bring in, being open to whatever perspectives they bring, that will eventually lead to plot twists of life. So I think that that's what I live by, saying yes to life.
I
if
love
you had
it,
to.
what you're saying. Amazing.
Yeah.
Azaan, what about you?
I don't know. I feel like this is like a Gyan type of question, but I always, like, whenever like I talk or very rarely do content or a podcast or something, like I don't think I'm qualified to give that, because I really don't.
What's your
genuinely.
Yeah.
But mantra for success, right? That's what it was. I think what I relate to is what Gary Vee says constantly, who is a hyperactive agency type of guy, but then he keeps this weird side where he says gratitude, right? Like, just be grateful and realize how small you are, because when things are good and like you're on that high horse, which happens to us sometimes in this space of an event, we brought everybody together, or content I went viral, or like whatever, right? Got a big client with so insignificant, small, tiny dot in the universe. So like the highs should be like mellowed down. And also like when we massively make a fool out of ourselves, like maybe...
Why did you look at me when you said that? We're like...
quickly look left and right. Right?
Like,
But then,
shit.
But then also that grounds us and balances us, right? Like, I'm so small. The fuck up is also small, right? We need to regulate ourselves in an environment that's unregulated, in an industry that's unregulated, if we're going to survive. And if we survive, we may achieve success.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's
loved
beautiful,
it.
dude.
The gratitude aspect of it. Good.
Gratitude and you are?
Say yes to life.
Say yes
Butterfly
to that.
effect. I'm remembering it. Like
Butterfly effect. Yeah, dude.
View.
What about you? No, you go first.
Okay. You're not the host. You can't say that now.
Me saying to my therapist, "Jab aap batao na kaise ho, how are you?"
He would be that guy, right?
I do that.
Session over, therapist will go to the next therapist. Yeah.
Have you read this book called Maybe You Should Talk to Someone? It's about therapists' therapy.
Really? Hey, let him answer. No, focus is on him. You're like, let me tell you about a book. So rude you are. Go on.
I think I've always believed in do the right thing, do your duty, and leave the rest to destiny. I think, there's a famous saying of in Bhagavad Gita, right? Karmanni vadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. Do your duty, leave the rest unto him. And let's see how life unfolds. So, yeah. That way, you can be at peace, be in that equilibrium state of mind. And that keeps me, positive minded. And then,
You've heard of Murphy's Law?
explain to me.
Whatever has to happen will happen. Right? Murphy's Law. It's from Interstellar.
Yeah.
Whatever can go wrong will
Will go wrong.
Yeah,
But
will
see,
go wrong.
there's another... Hey, bro. Pessimist.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
Control the
Yes.
controllables.
Control.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Wow.
Control the control. Sure.
आप बताइए.
अरे यार. So, I don't have a mantra, to be fairly honest. Like she said that how, Saloni here said that how mantra for success changes every year. My definition of success changes every year. Right. I used to think that it's my parents' validation. The another day it turned out to be marks. The other day it turned out to be the validation from my, bus conductor. The other day it turned out to be the, again, like with what college I get placed into. Like the definition of success is not stable. It's constantly changing. And that is why for me at the end of the day, like right now it is my happiness. Like how, I don't want like highs of happiness I'm going to come down. Like as she mentioned earlier, I hate to stretch this out loud. She said that I didn't like you the first time I met you. Yeah, I was not happy with my life, with what I was doing. I'm happy right now. I'm fucking happy. Okay? Because I'm trying to figure out how do I constantly stay that stable amount of happiness.
Yeah.
I'm trying to achieve that in life as I grow. Because I know money is nothing but a function of what? Capital, execution and planning. It's very simple. It's very, it just takes time, dude. That's fine. Just let it take time. You're young and all. So I want to be happy.
Yes.
Right? But what, again, like in your typical terms of what is success, be it in terms of happiness, money, love life, I feel there is only one single formula that works extremely well for me. There is a tattoo I have which says fuck around and find out. And that is my mantra. I will fuck around and find out. If Aditya says there's a podcast, I must go. If I like something, I'm inherently curious about things that I don't understand. About people that I'm scared of, people who I find intimidating. Aditya runs this big studio, Avatar Studios. I'm going to go there. Azaan is coming. Fuck crazy. I'm going to go there. I'm going to fuck around and find out. Right? I feel like a misfit here. But I'm having a lot of fun.
Yes.
Like what the fuck is a creator doing between all four of us, right? That's all. That's my success.
Absolutely.
Fuck around
Love
and find
that
out.
Spirit.
Yeah.
Cool. So with this, we have come to the end of our podcast session. And any closing words, statements, if anybody wants to say
You're the
something
nicest
to our
host I
audience.
have ever met.
Are you talking
Please
to
don't
yourself?
hate
Are you
me.
talking to yourself or to him?
Please don't hate me, Aditya. I'm like genuinely scared. My brain is going haywire here. Like, bro, you went too far today. But yeah.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but like, I am a very like an energy driven kind of person. I like to create a good energy, a good vibe, and for myself first, and then of course for the people around me. I experienced very interesting energy dynamics today between your calmness and his like chaos. And I thought like I was chaotic till then I came across this gentleman over here. But it was just like I felt like I experienced and learned something about energy that I'm going to process and understand later. More than the conversation in
Motion
the...
mein डालो उसको.
Huh?
Motion में डालो उसको.
No, वो तो जरूर डालूंगा. But yeah, I think that I experienced that and that was pretty cool for me today.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I would definitely want
You
to
love
hear
to
from
put me
her.
on spot, right? Yeah. No, I don't have a closing remark, honestly, because there's a lot of processing that happens before I can actually say something about it. Definitely, there were a lot of like, oh, yeah, dude, I didn't think of it like that.
Yeah.
Moments, so many of them, and so many of them where I really related to what you said. You almost worded out things that I had them. They just weren't comprehended enough. There's just a lot that I yet have to process. But I think I'm glad that I said yes.
My biggest regret for
Butterfly
this
effect.
podcast is that I wish I had brought a notebook and a pen.
अरे वीडियो में देख के नोट्स बना
अरे
लेना.
अरे हाँ वो भी है.
वो क्लाउड में डाल दो नोट लिख करके दे
अरे
दो
क्लाउड में वीडियो नहीं डलता
परप्लेक्सिटी में
है.
डाल दो
Notebook.
The classic style, gotta write.
Notebook LLM.
But nonetheless, I think this was fantastic.
Thank you so much. Thank you for coming again.
Thank you.
It was lovely talking to all of you.
and thank you for the beautiful studio and compliments to the team.
Thank
At
you.
our
You
Avatar
guys were
Studios.
superb.
Yeah.
Such a smooth and calming
Was this,
experience.
I was gonna say actually, was this the most non-boring conversation you all had?
You're supposed to. This is the best conversation I've had.
ये हर बार बोलेगी.
Good.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Saloni.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vyom.